Okay, this is a quick update of the June 17 turn, Commonwealth turn, Commonwealth being the second player. Vichy have continued to kind of pull back, although in Medjayun the lines are pretty much as they were, strengthened after that little sortie to try and get into Medjayun by the Scots Greys and the other units. In front of Damascus, again, they've kind of just pulled back and are starting to form up a defence, probably just in front of the El Awaji River. But over here on the coast, I thought was the interesting area because, again, we stopped briefly to try and put up a defence this side of the river, so occupying Sidon. But looking at the movement and the possibility of that side road that loops round, I thought it was time to pull back, and that's what I did. And you can kind of see there where the, well, obviously underneath that DG is the main Vichy River line, and there. And then this unit pulled back along this way, blocking that little extra track that goes around and up here. And actually, I think, easy to say when I'm playing both sides of the map, but I think there's a little bit of prescience here because in this turn, if I just point out these units, so this stack of 2 battalions here, this artillery stack, which I think is three or four units, another battalion and an HQ. These are all reinforcements that have just come barreling up the main road from Haifa this turn. Now with that extra HQ, they're obviously going to have the range to throw supply around this track and effectively get around that side. You can see the destroyers turned up, the cruisers didn't, but the destroyers turned up and they've actually DG'd the coastal road, but obviously we've got artillery here in place as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'll move the destroyers because that's now done. Yeah, it's kind of, I'm looking at these river lines now and thinking, actually, is either of these river lines defensible? Because if you look at the first one, it's the most awkward one to get around. But then if you look at the second one, it's exactly the same. There's the same situation in place that you could throw supply and try and get around this side if the Vichy don't move units to cover it. And it does kind of reflect to your back that I think the Litani River is such a critical crossing point, because as you can see, if I just move that little engineer unit, the big difference is on the Litani River, your crest hex sides go all the way to here, at which point the Commonwealth can only attack from one hex against either of those two. Now that worked to an advantage in a way in that we did manage to bounce. We managed to hit both and then bounce one, and it did kind of work in this game, but it won't always work. And if we go higher up, we've now got a situation where the Commonwealth can now attack from 2 hexes against either of those two. And then if we go further up again, it's 2v2. Litani River is the key, I think, to this thing. Once you're across the Litani River, which is why you've got the commandos, I guess. Once you've got across the Litani River, you're in a good position there to kind of barrel on and push up. Okie doke. Okay, so we'll do the barrage against the other Vichy units. So in other words, these guys here. We've got 6 and a 5, so we're on the 8 to 11 column. But we're going to be down once for density and once for terrain. So we end up on the 3 to 4 column. Nowhere near as impressive. We're basically looking for a 9. A 7 doesn't quite cut it. We got a 7 with a 3. Quite see that. A 7 with a 3. So no effect on that. Apart from obviously we can lose another 2T out of the Haifa supply dump box. So just take those off. That's the end of the combat. We won't really do anything at the rest of this turn. The Commonwealth have kind of moved everything up. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but obviously the 17th was the turn that a lot of reinforcements came back in. Maybe what I should do is do a quick flyover for you. and just show you here. It's an idea. So 17th reinforcing turn, and as you can see here, down in the box we've now got some useful bombers, 3 units in there. I pulled the Gladiators back to Mafra because also what came in, and we built a new air base for them, Hurricanes. So we have air support kind of over the Damascus front, and then across here just in behind Laverick HQ, Medjugorje and the coastal section. If I just pull back again, Hurricane air support. Yeah, so strong turn this turn for the Commonwealth. And actually what we could do, because I'm just looking, I think on the Vichy side that is that's reserve artillery. Air Force has already been committed. We used it to try and do some damage and it didn't really do any. No, that's reserve artillery and that's reserve artillery. So actually there's nothing major that the Vichy need to do. So I think we're going to skip right the way through these turns because there isn't a great deal happening. And we'll go once again to initiative. So again I will roll for Commonwealth first. Well, Commonwealth with a 10. And now let's roll again. Yep. Vichy with a 3. So Commonwealth have choice. I guess looking at it, if we looked up here, we could kind of think, well, there's a chance there that the Commonwealth could pocket something and do some more damage there. And we do still have that DG, so that's kind of attractive. And their air units, as I've just said, are already out and deployed. The famous double turn. Okay, let's. I think we'll take it. I think the Commonwealth will take the initiative. There's a bit of momentum building, perhaps. So let's see what we can do and see how it develops from there.